For years, I thought I was tired because I was busy. That seemed logical. I was running the business, seeing patients, leading a team, raising a family, managing responsibilities. Of course, I was tired, but every summer something would happen that confused me. Things would slow down. The schedule would become lighter. Life would feel a little less intense. And instead of feeling energized, I felt exhausted. Honestly, sometimes I felt more exhausted. And eventually, I realized something that changed how I viewed burnout. The slowdown wasn't causing the exhaustion. The slowdown was finally giving me enough space to notice how tired I already was. Welcome to Behind the Healing Table with Dr. Ava. And here we have the conversations I wish someone had with me earlier about business, leadership, burnout, and building a practice that supports your life instead of consuming it. I used to think recovery would feel immediate. Work less, feel better. Slow down, feel energized. But that wasn't my experience. Sometimes the moment things became quieter, I became more aware of how depleted I was, how depleted I felt physically, mentally, emotionally. And for a while, I thought something was wrong. I've learned that busyness can be surprisingly distracting. When we're moving constantly, we don't always notice how we're doing. We just keep going. We answer the next email, see the next patient, solve the next problem, handle the next responsibility. Movement becomes normal. And sometimes that movement prevents us from recognizing how much we're carrying. What I eventually realized was that burnout wasn't arriving during the slowdown. Burnout had been accumulating long before that. The slowdown simply removed the distractions. And once the distractions disappeared, I could finally hear what my mind and body had been trying to tell me. You need recovery. You need support. You need boundaries. You need to stop carrying everything alone. I think practitioners often imagine burnout as complete collapse, not getting out of bed, wanting to quit, feeling completely overwhelmed. Sometimes burnout looks like that, but sometimes it looks much quieter. It can look like feeling emotionally flat, feeling disconnected, feeling irritable, feeling exhausted despite resting, feeling like everything requires effort, feeling like you're constantly recovering from the week. Those signs are easier to miss, especially when we're busy. Summer for me started becoming a mirror, not a problem, a mirror. It showed me where I was overextended, where my boundaries needed work, where I was carrying responsibilities that weren't mine to carry, where I had normalized exhaustion. And while that wasn't always comfortable, it was incredibly valuable because awareness creates the opportunity for change. One of the biggest shifts I've experienced is realizing that burnout isn't always a productivity problem. It's often a recovery problem. Many of us are incredibly capable. We know how to push through. We know how to keep going. We know how to show up for other people. The question is, do we know how to show up for ourselves? Do we know how to recover? Do we know how to create space? Do we know how to stop before our body forces us to? So this week, I want you to pay attention to what you're noticing now that life is a little quieter. Not what you're doing, what you're noticing, what emotions are surfacing, what frustrations keep appearing. What exhaustion are you finally becoming aware of? Write it down. You don't have to fix it yet, just notice it. Awareness is often the first step towards sustainable change. For a long time, I thought summer was exposing weaknesses in my business. Sometimes it was, but often it was revealing something else. It was revealing me, the exhaustion I hadn't acknowledged, the stress I had normalized, the recovery I had postponed. And maybe that's one of the gifts of slower seasons. As stressful as it might be to not have that income, it really is a gift. They give us the space to see what busyness has been hiding, because the goal isn't simply building a successful practice. The goal is building a life and a business that are sustainable enough to support the person leading them. Remember, there is a patient for every practitioner. And if this conversation resonated with you, comment below and let us know. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and building a practice that supports you as much as you support your patients.